Welcome folks, Sydney Harbour, 1st of December 2019, Heat 2, New South Wales 18-footer title. Today we're starting this broadcast in the park and we'll show you some highlights shortly and then go back onto the water in our normal sort of routine. Today, a pretty special day on the Camera Cat. We've got David Witt, the famous David Witt, steering and commentating, subbing in for James Bury, who's away at the King's Cup in Thailand, keelboat racing. All good. You see in the background here now with me, Tech 2 in all of its glory. Jack McCartney, Charlie White and Phil Harmer, expecting good things from them today. Jack brought a good level of precision and accuracy to the course last couple of weeks, or he subbed in on Marine Pittwater a couple of weeks ago and revealed he's lost none of his skill set. A lot of substitutions in the crews today as well. And on Smeg, we have, for example, Paul Montague on the main sheet, first sail in 1 year. And on the Yandu, we have Ash Rooklyn, first sail in 1 year as well, I think, more or less. And if we'd been a bit quicker, we would have had pictures of Ash stretching in readiness for a nice nor'easter on the harbour. Boats that won't make the start line today, Noakes Sailing and those guys, I think, Sean, pretty busy with Hobart Race yachts of various kinds. Finport Finance also not in attendance. Matty Stenner attending other events today. AKA the 16-footer States, as Chips reminds me in my other ear. So, David, good to see you in the park here, mate, and good for you to come and help us today. You've been adventuring widely around the world, we see. We note a little typhoon up near the Philippines. You got anything to do with that? Oh, the Trimaran, we're in Subic Bay. Okay, fair enough. Should be, it's only a 50-knot sort of typhoon. It's not a real one. Typhoon Kimura. Very Japanese. Davey, when was the last time you sailed one of these boats?
Last time I sailed was the AOL. We went around the world, so that would have been 2016.
Okay. There you go, the old story. So you're here for the Hobart Race, more or less, with the mighty Scallywag. What proportion of your men comes from this apparent wind background of 18-footer sailing?
Well, looking through the park, nearly everybody buck up. Tech 2 boys, they've got Phil Harmer filling in today with Jack and Charlie White. They're all full-time Scallywags. Young Nipper, Ben Nipper, went around the world, youngest kid to go around the world in the Volvo Ocean Race in the last 20 years. Up there with Marine. We've got Tim from Japan sailing with Doro and Sean Partners. I'm sure there's a few more there. Anyway,
I'll bring you the cheat sheet in a minute. How's that?
all keelboat sailing is now all apparent wind sailing, and this is the class that probably got a bit to do with the start of the apparent wind sailing, mate.
Yeah, and we're just kilos, but the sails are shackled up. There's no halyards except for the spinnaker, and you'll see, the crews here just sort of getting ready. In the foreground here we've got Noakes Blue, Kitchen Maker, Armourine, Pitwater, Winning Group, and so on. But there's two ramps, and so all the boats have to get launched. The start line is only about 500 metres from where I'm standing. And I'm now being instructed that we have to do the walkie-talkie back to the boat. How's that? Extra money for this.
I've got a question for you, Bugger.
Yeah, good.
They're carrying those boats in a lot easier than we used to do. Is that because they're longer, or are we just getting too old?
Oh, I think you know the answer to that, don't you? Don't? Listen, the first colour 7 before there was wings, 3 of us could stick it in before the race, but we couldn't lift it out after the race.
I don't think it gets heavier, does it?
No. That's probably... Oh, we've come to the mighty Ilvy, the shiniest, most beautiful looking skiff in the fleet, in my opinion, and a crowd favourite. Beautiful silver hull finish, incredible. Looks great on the water every time. Davey, I think the answer to that question though is 3 laps of any of these 18-footer courses is a bit of a test still. Doesn't matter how fit you are. Mr. Lactic still comes on the last beat. I did experience that myself pretty often. You're only holding the wiggle stick. You were mentally tired, David, weren't you? There you go. Now I remember that, of course, indeed. Yeah, you were a main-sheet hand in the beginning. Okay. Well, this is a long course. Ebb tide today, of course, but it's quite a long course. And in between everything else and, you know, getting the boat ready, getting out to the track, sailing around in circles before the start. By the 3rd beat, you've been at the task with an elevated heart rate. all the fleet with second rig anticipating a bit of nor'east, and you know, the synoptic situation of the low pressure cell down to the southeast of Gobo Island, so about 300 miles away, 350 miles away to the middle. I think also, Dave, there's a little cyclone, a little typhoon up on the side of the Philippines, as we discussed, and it probably has, even though it's a long way away, it's a good size. It's not the most intense, but it's a big bit of kit. It's a couple of 1,000 miles across or so. Has some influence on the overall weather in Northern Australia, which inevitably does affect what's happening here. So today, scratch start, ebb tide. The wind right now, 12 to 14 nor'east with a little bit of extra east. And we're expecting a slow build. The models have got in them a slow build and quite windy to the south of Sydney. So down at Montague Island, quite a bit more wind than here, but conversely to the north, probably raining. Looked at the rain radar, raining up at Port Stephens, up past north of Newcastle. So we're expecting the sort of actual wind speed to be perhaps around 16 towards the second half of the race. Ebb tide perhaps running with a lot of water in the harbour. Ebb tide perhaps adding a couple of knots effectively to that, and also a bit of lump and bump, Davey, the famous Nielsen Park lump. Yeah, and they've all been a bit conservative with second rig, but I
think you know what rig I would put on Bucko if I was here.
Yes. I remember one race of the last Gildan you sailed, Dave, where you were contemplating the big rig and then you put the small rig in, and then you broke the spreader and had to put the big rig back in. And with about 10 minutes to go, you were looking famous. The wind was down to about 6 knots, and then it just like somebody turned the big fan on, and suddenly you're in 25 knots going up the beat with the big rig.
Yeah, I remember it well. It was a bit disappointing because that little rig used to be a bit of a bullet of ours, but I had some pretty handy guys with me back there, Bucko. Tommy Anderson and Tommy Clout, no problem in overpowered big rig.
No, that's correct. So in this race, Tommy Anderson steering the Birkenhead Point Marina with Elliot Scully and Tom Arkins, and Tommy Clout yet to make an appearance this year, but I'd be interested in your view. You know, they've got new kit, but Tommy's sailing on the steering stick this time with Nick Daly and John Walton, and I think you know Johnny Walton and Nick pretty well, but a year to get the combination right, you think?
Normally a minimum. I think when they finally get on the water, I think Dark Horse is obviously building their sails, so I think they'll be pretty good out of the box with their big rig. But I think top end of both rigs, they're going to struggle with the coordination. But I don't know. Dark Horse is Nick Daly, obviously. I haven't seen Nick Daly lately. I don't know how he's on the fitness program. He'd want to be reasonably fit, I think. But Tommy's certainly no slouch on the wood. He's a very good helmsman. He drives a 100-footer on the scallywag a lot in tough conditions, so he'll be good.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? The two of your most immediate alumni are on the back end of the boat. You must have made it look good or easy, David.
Bucko, started at 17, I'm 48, so if you don't learn something in 30 years, you're not very smart, are you?
And you had some funny lessons along the way, I think, with probably the best fun you would have had, I would have thought, was with Noddy Hay, Andrew Hay and Julian Bethwaite, correct?
Yeah, probably a dead heat for them, and Charlie Diekman and Cameron McDonald in the Nokia. They were, I think, Nod and Julian were pretty special to sail with, but Cameron and Charlie were pretty special in the bar, I'll guarantee you.
There you go. No, and that pretty famous footage of the Nokia downwind in some extreme conditions in Auckland Harbour, I recall.
Well, I've got one of the young kids who was one of the guns in the 49er, Charlie White. He's sailing on the main sheet for Tech 2. He's only 21. He works full time for me now. Sails on the scallywag, and I had to convince him it was me, Bucko. He thought there was another David Witt.
Well, there's a couple.
I think that's showing how old we're getting.
Oh, that's okay, mate. That's all good. That's all good. So, Davey, today, and I've only just given you the sheet, but the well-informed money and a bit of this good data comes from Tommy Woodcock, who knows where most of the bodies are buried. Thanks, Tommy. But we sort of think the race might be between, in the absence of Finport Finance and no sailing, we're thinking Winning Group, Smeg, and Tech 2. And
well,
I think
that's your podium, Bucko, is it?
Well, I'm suspicious that Tech 2 might win the race.
Well, I saw Monty get on the Smeg for the first time in 12 years, and not that I could ever be critical of his weight, but he's enjoyed his time off. So I think they might struggle with his first day back. So they're not on my podium. I think Winning's clearly the favourite, Winning Group. But as you know, I like a bet, and I got young Jack McCartney on the Tech 2, and the three Scallywag boys, I got them at $5. So the wife's put the money on. Let's see how we go, huh?
So there you go. You're with me, more or less.
Yeah, but I also think Doro might do all right. He's got Harry Bethwaite, my old leader's son in the bow, and young Tim, who's also a scallywag. He's from Japan, sails on the Sail GP with Team Japan, and sails on the Tribrand with us. He's a pretty handy guy around the boat too. I think they could go all right too here.
Okay, but it's sort of a new combination, yeah?
Yeah, but he's a big 49er sailor. You know, I know 18s they're different, but they're not probably the closest thing you can get. So I think unless they get too overpowered, I mean, you can't learn. You only learn from your mistakes in this class, and if it stays light enough, I think they won't have any boat handling issues. But let's see what happens.
Yeah. Well, I think these are easier boats to sail than a 49er. I mean, talking to the Kiwi guys, you know, the Kiwi guys last year who, you know, sail 49ers and these boats, they made, most of the time, made sailing one of these look pretty straightforward. But, the bowman in the 49 has got to be a bit of a Superman, hasn't he?
Yeah, for sure. I was a bowman in 49er with Emmett Lasage, Bucko, for quite a while, and I was far from a Superman, I can assure you. Maybe that's why I didn't make the Olympics, huh?
Yeah, no, the Legends race in a couple of weeks' time. Emmett coming, and David's here, so it's all good. Davey, but, you know, the 49er, I mean, back then when you were sailing that boat, technically they were quite different. The rigs have evolved quite a bit in the meantime, haven't they? You know, they've become a much better package with 10 years of evolution, yes?
Yeah, absolutely. In our day, we had aluminium rigs and fiberglass tops, and we'd just come straight out of the Grand Prix sailing circuit back in the 90s. We were sailing every day. So when the class first launched for the first Olympics in 2000, I think there was Emmett, Nico and Bisho. We were all sort of ahead of the rest of the pack, but I've got a mate of mine coaches to China Olympic side, JJ, who won the gold medal here in 2000. I had dinner with him in Hong Kong the other night, and I watched the way they handle the boats on the start line now. It's a whole nother level, you know, a whole nother level. It's pretty amazing to watch.
Yeah, they can just put them on a 10-cent piece and hold them still, can't they? And a big part of those races is the first 50 yards off the line, and yeah, I mean it's a different game. But Davey, how much did you weigh when you're in the bow of that 49er?
Probably about 90 kilos, Bucko.
And that was just a bit heavy, was it?
A bit heavy. Emmett had me on a diet, but he didn't have any success because there's too many calories in a beer back then.
I'll let you off on that one, mate. Okay. And, you know, they're sailing them now with two blokes of pretty much even weight seems to be the right answer, doesn't it?
Yeah, two guys built like a minute to six, about 6+ tools to go. So it's a bit different to these. You can't do this with an 80-footer. You stop an 18-footer, you tip over, as you know. So good to see. Good to see. I also just saw the Del Zotto over there, and Captain Jack and young Josh in the bow. Last time I saw young Josh, we were doing a delivery on a 90-footer from Singapore to Darwin. Kill boot split, boat sinking, and the young man stayed on the bilge pump literally for 3 days. So if it gets tough, he's a bloke you'd want to go to war with, that's for sure.
Interesting, isn't it? When you've got a a yacht designed with its whole existence dependent on a rubber boot. David, any comment on that one?
Mate, during the transatlantic this year, we were caught in a big squall, 40 knots. Couldn't put the reef in because a 5-cent screw had come out of one of the locks and jammed the mainsail cars. So about $1.50 part was going to cost us a $3 million rig down. That's how quick it can go bad on those things. So,
yeah, a lot of detail to get right, isn't that?
yeah. It's everyone's sort of being a little bit critical of us at the moment, seeing everyone else sailing and we're not, but I can tell you we're putting all the hours in on the thing to make sure it's reliable. Reliability is a big thing with any sailboat, right? Even these things.
No, that's right. Dave, you've no doubt been observing the travails of the Wild Oats team. They've got a monstrous task, haven't they? And they're undertaking it, obviously, but it's far from certain they'll get an optimum result out of that.
Oh, far from ideal, but I'm pretty sure they'll be. I think they might even shock a few people and be there on Big Boat Day.
Oh, well, that'd be great. It'd be great to see them back on the track and with reliability, as you observe. So just launching a drone right now, but onto the committee boat. And signals are up. So we're in sequence. Course number 1, the Norris course. For new viewers, 3 times to the Beachel Buoy. The first and last lap triangular around Shark Island. The mid-lap a windward leeward. Great course, traditional course. Been sailed on Sydney Harbour since even before I was born.
Well, it's the number 1 course on the course sheet for a reason, Bucko. It's the best course we sail, I think. It's the one, certainly my favourite. In
an average year, it's probably more than 50% of the racing, isn't it? It's probably something like 60%. In a previous episode of Camera Cat, version whatever, somebody asked me how many times I'd been up the beat on this track necessarily, and I said, well,
that's a rude question, Bucko.
It is. I said about 600 times.
But having a look at this line, Bucko, it looks quite square. It looks maybe a little pin favoured.
Oh, they've been the last 2 years. They've been terrific on the line laying, predominantly. But as you know, ebb tide, Davey, you're at the pin, aren't you?
Well, the only problem, you are at the pin, Bucko. You know I love the pin, down the pin, but just having a look at where it is, you might be a tad low under Bradley's. You might be better off being just up from the pin and being able to get closer to Bradley's. As we know, you get the current further as you get across. And the old saying in the day, first to Bradley's head wins the race, hasn't really changed in 100 years, has it?
No, that's correct. But have a look at the wind now. The wind actually now a little softer and a little further right than it was half an hour ago. And little spotty puffs. And on the camera boat right now, we're in the middle one. But it's barely 14, 12, 14. Dave, yeah?
Absolutely, Bucko. We'd be looking good with our big rig on now, son. Hey?
Only with you swinging it down at the back of the ship, so.
Yeah, well, you know as it goes right, it's going to lighten, right? For it to freshen, it's got to go back more into the northeast. So.
Look at the sky. Interesting. The weather models the ECMW model was spot on yesterday. We had a little cold front that came through, and it's got prediction here for sort of by the end of the race 18 knots of wind. We don't see that yet here, but still early days, I guess. But little puffer in here, probably 14 knots. So low range with a small rig.
So the viewers like to be at the boat end or the pin end, Bucko?
No, the camera cut usually starts at the pin unless something weird. Sorry, at the boat, unless something weird has happened, because we like to see if there's recall and who gets recalled. Of course, the recall number's an important part of the equation.
I'm pretty happy to see Tommy Anderson having a go on the wood there, mate. He's a ex-bowman of mine, but he's a fantastic bloke. It's good to see him having a go.
Yeah, no, great. I mean, and still in the highlights reel is a really fantastic spinnaker drops. Is one featuring T. Anderson. You guys nearly on the rocks at Shark Island in this nor'east course.
I remember it very well, very well.
And another one with Trent Barnabas with a whole spinnaker in one hand.
Mm.
Just coming to a minute and a half. Fleet's right.
Why? Why? Please explain. Please explain why.
Turned up. Let's turn up.
It'll just make the most leeward boat more favourable here. He'll be up and still the leeward boat. He'll be able to put his bow down. So I'd say looking down there, Marcus is having a crack in the RMW and winning groups down there. Jack's Tech 2's decided to be at the boat end.
Yeah, so on average, the favourites have the fleet has favoured quality of the fleet mostly towards the pin, and a bit of a crowd at the windward end, and that's dangerous, isn't it? I mean, you just do not need to get into that position. Just 20 seconds, and Birkenhead Point definitely early and in danger. That's your man.
Yeah, he's got a gap if he can get under rail.
Oh, that was a quick 20 seconds.
Endo's over.
And it's
Down
a general.
I bet old Jack McCartney's happy that's a general.
Well, he did the right thing in a sense. Having gotten into a too crowded a spot, he elected not to get it into the damage position, Dave, I think.
Yeah,
you know.
That's the problem with the boat end, Bucko.
Yeah.
Only one boat can get the start. You've got 6 trying, you've got 5 get a bad one.
That's right.
Risk versus reward is what I tell my young blokes, Bucko, all the time. Risk versus reward.
Yeah, I think I've heard that a couple of times. Indeed. Well, that will give the fleet a good idea, but pretty clearly the easterly slant we're in here is pretty localised, because once they've gone about 100 metres, they're in ordinary nor'east. Well, that's how it appears, at least.
Yeah, Endo was well bowed down 100 metres up the track there, pointing at the leeward boat there. So I think you might find them racked up on the pin this start.
Tricky, isn't it? There'll be a couple of guys start at the boat and tack into this right-hand area, I would suggest.
Jeez,
John Winning.
You'd be brave in an ebb tide, mate.
No, that'd be John Winning or somebody like that. Yeah? I've seen Woody do it and pull it off.
Well, he's probably the only guy in the fleet that could do it and pull it off. He's been here longer than everybody.
That's correct, isn't it? That is correct. Well, good practice start. It's interesting looking upwind now. We're still seeing sort of grey skies and fairly low level cumulus, not intense at all, so don't know.
I hope the wife's got the money on, Bucko. That'll be good. It might be time for a little story. Do you want a little story, Bucko?
Oh, well, we might as well.
A little story. So the bowman on the front of RM Marine, as I mentioned earlier, Ben Piggott.
Yes.
The bowman on Scallywag. Youngest kid to go around the world in the Volvo race in the last 20 years. We were doing the leg from Cape Town to Melbourne, which is through the Southern Ocean, as you know. And we had a man break his arm, and we had a little bit on. And I said, come on, son, you've got to get on the wheel here. And he speared it like a champion, day after day. And we got in. I think we finished 5th in that leg. We got in. And he said, we're having a beer, and he said, can I have a quiet word with you? I said, yeah, what's the problem? He said, I just need to tell you that's the first time I've ever driven a keel boat.
There you go.
So I said, so you haven't got any bad habits. That's perfect.
That's good. That's right. He's only seen how it operates properly. Dave, similarly, and a very long time ago, but I was at the 1979 Admiral's Cup, and Hugo van Kretschmar was the bowman. And the first time he got to steer the yacht, we were on Sid's boat, was at 2 o'clock in the morning in the 79 Fastnet race. He had steered a keelboat before, but it was excellent, you know, call for volunteers.
So were you in the 98, Bucko?
Yeah, we went home pretty early.
Right. I remember, as you know, I worked for Sid for a long time. He used to tell me about the 79. I said, how did you make the decision to keep going, Sid? He said, it was one of my first proper ocean races. I just thought that was normal.
That's right.
Yeah.
The first 2 races I did was 77 Hobart, which was a 3 cold front Hobart, and the 79 Fastnet. So I thought this is just a bit of a tough game. You better be sorted out, you know.
A 3 cold front Hobart. That'll tell you how quick the boats used to go compared to how they go now, Buggo.
We finished on the 31st, got full value, I reckon, for our entry fee. Here we go, men. racking up again. Racking up again. So the breeze now, just a bit more regular nor'east in it now, and a little brown cloud coming down the middle of the harbour. Bit of pressure in that, or associated with it, should I say. Round the ends rule applies, David.
Yes. I think that's brought both you and I unstuck before, Bucko, I'm sure.
Never. Never.
You must be working on the theory that the older you get, the better you were.
That's correct.
Yeah. I think I might run with that one too.
Immensely correct. No, I mean, David, the better we were, but, you know, I started for a couple of years with big handsome Pete Sorensen, and he was always front row and going hard at the start. The marvellous I.G. Murray was often the reverse. Let's just be in row B and plug away, you know, so...
I think I fell into the first one, Bucko.
I think you did. You were normally getting towards the front, weren't you?
Mm.
Okay, so slightly different conditions for the second start. And you're probably right. I think the fleet might get pretty evenly distributed this time.
Yeah, the breeze has gone back left, and up the harbour,
Yep.
Bucko, it looks a lot more constant than it did, say, 10, 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, I'd say there's 4 knots more at the windward mark than there was 10 minutes ago, so
Agree with that.
not unexpected entirely, but
I'll tell you what, Bucko, I'm going to really enjoy this today, because anybody out there over 40 would know that they find it hard having young children or employing young people, because they seem to know everything these days. We don't know anything. And there's that many scallywags scattered across the fleet. Only one can win. So I'm going to have plenty of people to give a bit of a hard time to in the bar later.
you reckon you can claim the victory, Dave? More or less.
Why not?
Why not, exactly. Okay, just coming to 2 minutes. So Smeg and Winning Group at the leeward end. Shaw and Partners joining them. And so looks like only perhaps Tech 2 of the strong favourites toward the windward end.
We may have missed one, Bucko. I just saw Michael Coxon sail past on the Rag and Famish, and I know that when Jack McCartney had that boat, it was very quick with a little sail on. And
I'm sorry, viewers. Yeah, we didn't mention that.
Michael Coxon is certainly no slouch. I think he might have to be in my podium.
Coco subbing in on the Rag and Famish. No, indeed. So 1 minute 20. 1:20 to go. Fleet looks pretty orderly, Dave, doesn't it? And about the right distance away from the line.
I think we'll be right. I'm surprised that we've still got so many up towards the boat here, but I think they'll put the bow down now. Still got a minute to go.
Yeah, the line's not a minute long, so you know the choices are still open, but you've got to find a lane and not necessarily that easy to do because of the wing width, amongst other things, and the bowsprit length.
I mean, one of the things I was always very concerned about at the start, Bucko, was who was underneath me. I think if you're a front runner or a favourite, you always used to like a sort of a large handicap boat to leeward, knowing that you'd be able to get a lane off the start line. So
that's right.
I think Jack McCartney might be working on the same program there.
Winnie, just forward a bit, mate. That's good there. Yeah. So I mean, here we go. Ooh. Just coming to the last 10 seconds. Shaw and Partners got the pin.
Winning Group slow.
Grab the pin. Winning Group midline, more or less. We're off. All good. Well-behaved fleet, really.
Yeah. 1-0 to Doro there, mate.
Yeah, and Jack McCartney in row F on the Tech 2. Bit disappointing. But as predicted, Yandu at the windward end. How about that?
I think row F, you're being generous.
Yandu in easterly at the windward end. But the
struggling to pull through strings, Buggo.
The header quickly exerts itself. Yeah, rig looks a bit dusty. The other blokes out in the stream are nice, comfortable 3 strings. Less wind, but right-handed on this edge where we are.
Johnny Winning's still got a bit of right-hander above him here, if he can hold up for a bit longer.
And a good puff. Wow. Yeah, No choice there. So, David, as we speak, Shaw and Partners leading, probably from Royal Oak, Four Pines. Appliances Online in the hunt and winning group, but Yandu probably leading the race momentarily.
I think right at this moment, but he's going to end up with his bow down. I think Shaw Partners and winning group will be the top two here when they come out of Bradley's.
Quite a bit of traffic at Bradley's for the viewers. Large commercial cat going in, a white pleasure ship going out, a big bargey spectator thing coming down. And Ash Rooklyn in the middle on Yandu, his first outing for a year or so.
All good so far for Ash.
Yep. It's a big three lapper though, mate, so let's go, eh?
Big waves here.
It's faster, Dave. Oh, yep. Yep. So we're just over the wash of a big luxury pleasure ship. So, Davey, as we come towards the compression of Bradley's, wind well up now. 16. Everybody.
I think every bit of 15. Yep.
Everybody nicely leaning back. And subject to spectator traffic.
It's like a floating barge at Bradley's Head there. It's going to affect them coming out on port and how far they can go here.
Yeah, that's dead right. But it looks like Shaw and Partners gone the other side. Winning group on screen, the right-hand most boat. The other guys all getting towards the tacking zone at Bradley's. And the barge is going to cause some trouble here. But the boys have got it under control. Shaw and Partners gone the other side. Winning group.
Shaw and Partners are going to lead easy here, Bucko.
Yeah, no, correct. Oh, and winning group taking a duck around the bow. That's gutsy play. No risk involved in that one, Dave.
Well, I certainly can't be critical of that one, Bucko. I think I might have something to do with the orange diamonds that began on the ferries a few years ago, or a few decades ago, should I say?
Yeah. So Shaw and Partners leads, winning group second. Yeah, they're just going to cross the Royal Oak, Four Pines third. And the truth of the header comes to pass. The compression and header against Bradley sees Yandu back in about 8th, I would say. Righto, mate. Just keep the wind, Dave. Just like taking the mainsail down to the maxi, mate.
Copy, got it. I mean...
But we don't have to motor backwards.
Copy. I tell you what, interesting to see how good John Winning looked and how far Shaw Partners have crossed him by. I mean, ebb tide nor'east, so the rule still applies, Bucko.
First man to Bradley's Head wins the race. Yeah. Correct. And okay, Dave.
We're good.
Yep. Long legs in this tide. So
Who's sailing the Royal Oak Hotel?
Aaron Everett, Courtney Murray, Charlie Gundy. So they're pretty good outfit.
They look all right. I mean, they managed to get a little bit further into Bradley's here, and they look slightly bow up on some of the other boats on port. So, and probably in more current there as well, Bucko. So,
no, they're good. The mainsail looks a bit, they're a bit short of luff curve in the mainsail, but They've been close to getting on the podium a couple of times. And when Jack McCartney's did it the other week, they were actually got fastest time in a three-boy handicap race.
Oh, okay, so they got boat speed. This will be an interesting matchup. So Dore's got new Doyle sails.
Yes.
Winning Group's got new North sails.
Yeah, these boats, I mean, the speed in the fleet is more even than it's been for quite a long time, it seems to me. You'll see these two boats sail side by side and very little change in, you know, in several minutes. Comfortable mid-range second sail.
Very, very comfortable, I would say.
Yeah.
I tell you what, at least I got one scallywag in front here.
Yeah. But Shaw and Partners typically sailing a little higher and slower than Winning Group. Winning Group happy to go bow down and let it rip a bit.
Have a look at how much more main sheet Shaw Partners have got off compared to Winning Group. Okay?
Yeah.
They look a bit deeper with a bit more twisted, They look. Yes. Winning Group looks quite straight leach, a bit flatter.
Yeah. So pity Finport's not out because their rig looks, them, you know, with sails designer built by Nick Daly and Michael Carter, look, you know, they're sort of converging on the same solution. You know, a little flatter, a little straighter back. But you see here, left side of the shot, Royal Oak 4 Pines in the hunt, definitely.
Well in the hunt here.
Yeah, and Ferry coming from Manly, going to shake up the order a bit here, I think. Smeg probably fourth at this stage. So the 3 leaders are here, and Royal Oak actually faster than these other two boats at the present time.
Higher and faster all the way across here, Bucko.
And the Manly Ferry coming to say g'day. Thanks for coming. Shaw and Partners be happy to go around the back, I think. Winning Group has to tack.
I don't know how close Doro's going to be to the distance rule here, but he's having a crack.
I think the distance rule might be, you know, honoured in the breach here, Doug.
I can guarantee you, Buggo, if that was me, I'd be getting hammered on Facebook already.
So the Smeg a little closer than we thought after coming back from the left edge here.
Well, I think, yeah.
That tells you that they're actually going through the water pretty well.
Yeah, I don't think Shaw Partners and Winning Group did a great job going so far to the right last time.
Yeah, just let the less tax rule, mate, I think.
Yeah.
You know. Breeze looks better on this edge than the other edge now too, though. So if I was a betting man, I'd say these two left-hand boats should make a gain here on the left edge. Probably 2 knots more wind and just up around just 14 knots probably where we are on the camera cut, travelling with Shaw and Partners on the shot. Shaw and Partners jumping ship here.
Not a good tack.
That was very benign, David, what you just said. A horrible tack, I would have said.
I'm trying to be nice. My wife told me to be politically correct and don't upset anybody, Buggo, today.
David, old dog, no new tricks available. Just be, you know.
Righto. For blokes that have been on the boat that long, that was bloody ordinary, Buggo.
Righto, that'll do. That's better.
Yeah, that's better.
That'll do. So Winning Group crosses Shaw and Partners after their bad tack. The Winning Group leads. Powerboat down the middle, cruising catamaran down the middle. All sorts of spectator nonsense. Oh, and not on shot, but the Smeg in the tide over to the right.
I actually saw that. I think Monty didn't get across the boat there.
So Winning Group leads Royal Oak 4 Pines by about 4 boat lengths. but we think Royal Oak 4 Pines might be the quickest through the water. Yeah. Winning Group going to the better side of the track though here, I think. Now Shelton is in George's Head or else, David. And we're travelling with the kitchen maker who have crept forward, and I did notice they were doing quite a bit of work on their rig in the park, in the rig up stage. And they've been close all year without actually getting on the podium.
Right, yeah, I've watched them. They've improved a lot.
Well, they've gained probably 30 seconds from where they were at Bradley's Head, so that tells you they're going through the water pretty well.
I'll tell you what, the Winning Group, when the pressure gets up a little better, they look a bit better, don't they? As soon as they start to be able to ease a bit more sheet, they're pretty slick through the water.
Yeah, the setup is a little bit too flat for this wind speed, I think.
I agree.
Same problem that Finport has a bit, gets down range and then not that great. Well, these guys have got to bail out of here pretty shortly, you'd think, though. Winning Group trying to get to the ley line by the look of it.
They might too. Ebb tide.
Oh. Yeah, nice tack in the compression off George's Head. Not going to lay. Breeze too much east. But the cross coming up with 4 Pines. 4 Pines has lost out in the middle. These guys have gained. Davey, just have a shot, just go. You know, the mainsail looks terrific. Jib depth's pretty good. Maybe a bit fat at the bottom stripe, but
this Royal Oak's going through the water.
Royal Oak is smoking and not going to spear them, but very close. Wow. Back to... So the Royal Oak will go to the ley line, Dave, so they may well be able to lead here if they get the ley line correct to the windward mark. Well, they're insurance partners.
Yeah, well, Winning Group's got 2 more tacks, so that's going to hurt.
Yep. And Sherwin Partners will press Royal Oak here, so Royal Oak will tend to end up overstood. Winning Group tacking early, which is a good thing to do, I think. Royal Oak smoking along, David.
Yeah, quite impressive, huh?
And now he's asking Sherwin Partners, can we please tack, sir? That's done.
Another bad tack, huh?
Yeah, no, the tacking has not been great. So the Royal Oak tacks, slightly better tack, Winning Group tacks.
Still not laying.
They're not laying, no, he's laying, I think. And sorry, viewers, I was pointing to the Royal Oak 4 Pines. So the wind direction about 045 here versus normal 030 down the middle of the harbour. So the mark in front of us, just on the edge of Camp Cove.
A little lighter than I thought up here, Bucko. When we're down the bottom, it looked like there's a bit more pressure up here at the top.
Yeah, only near George's Head.
Mm.
A little bit of funnel here right in the middle. It's come through clean past North Head, upwind of us. These guys aren't even quite laying now. Royal Oak, breeze back in the right. So tough. They might get there. What do you think? Just body language? Are they laying?
Body language tells me they're struggling.
Yeah. And the mainsail just a bit too flat, I think. But they lead the race, I think, also. And winning second. Shore Partners back to third.
Michael Coxon fourth, and after he's give them all a 30-second head start, the Tech 2 looks like it's going through the water all right too.
Yeah, you'd expect that. No, 4 Pine's going to lay.
They're going to lay now and lead. Good effort by them.
Oh, maybe not. He's got the clamp on. Yeah, no, he can't lay. 2 tacks.
Want to go up and watch him.
Yeah.
Sue gets them up best, eh?
Let's get there and watch the bear away. The best fun there is.
He's got to not pinch this bugger. He's just got to keep the pace on and try and lead him back here. But I think he's tried too hard to get there. Bit of inexperience maybe.
Yeah, no, he needed to press hard forward on the winning group and tack.
Correct.
On the lead bow if he could, but oh well. Winning group back in the lead if he ever lost it, which I probably doubt actually.
Mrs. Witt obviously excited. We put our money on the winning group.
Yeah, not a bad call. Sure and Partner's coming in overstood, causing a bit of damage.
He doesn't mind upsetting people, Doré, does he?
His accuracy on the lay lines isn't too good either, on average. So
Central Coast boy, they're all a bit rough. Eh?
Oh, yeah.
My boys are Central Coast boys. All a bit rough.
All a bit rough. Oh, wow, great set on the Royal Oak.
Wasn't it?
A beauty.
We might just watch a few more come around and set here, Bucko, and then we'll chase them again, eh?
I think that's how it works. So the Reagan Famish up into 4th, that's a pretty good effort, Dave, isn't it?
Yeah.
And your mate, Captain Jack Sprague on the Dalzotto in 6th. Appliances 7th, Appliances Online 7th. Tech 2 8th.
Vintech 9th, Sir John winning 10th.
And
I think Marcus got lost. Marcus is about 14th on RM Marine.
Marine Piltwater. Yeah.
I don't think you'd want to be on starboard jibe here with a breeze out of the left here, Bucko. I don't think that's the move.
Winning group's going to have a little jibe, but they'll wait till right down at the Nielsen Park, I would expect.
Yeah, the Rag and Famish look like they mightn't even need to jibe here, and we've got a boat sailing in the opposite direction on the other jibe, the Dalzotto. So I suggest they maybe have a look at the video tomorrow about that one.
They'll be coming in hot. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. So winning group doing a big BMG soak, and looks like they're not going to need a jibe, but they've got on the face of a good puff.
Yeah, they've been on beauty.
And Rag and Famish, sorry, Royal Oak, not able to find the same wind strength. Shore Partners in the middle, more or less. Travelling here with Appliance Online. So Royal Oak 4 Pines, clearly second still. Doesn't need to go far though here out on the other jibe.
Only needs to go to winning's line, really. Every metre on starboard is a loss.
There he goes, surely.
Oh, winning group very light there now, Bucko, and having to jibe out as well.
That's right. So we see. So, and that gives a good signal to the Royal Oak guys. They will know that to just go VMG down here for a while, get as wide as they can. And on the cross here, they're now behind Rag and Famish, just had to luff up to get that done. But they'd still be liking their chances, you'd think, Dave, wouldn't you?
You'd have to give it a crack from there. I'll tell you what, Rag and Famish with Coco on the wheel, they've probably come forward up from where they were at the start. They're probably the boat that's come forward the quickest.
Now, Royal Oak now in danger of being out on the too close up under the shore here.
He's got to jive out before his bow goes up or he goes soft, Buggo.
Yep. Because these guys down here look like they're in pretty good shape, don't they? Winning group, the absolute VMG running bow at the mark.
So what's that old rule, Buggo? What does that tell us? The VMG here, jibe on the totem pole. She's going to be tight down the other way here.
No, it should be all right. Don't know. It's not your
Typical, is it? No.
No, it's not your funneling nor'easter.
I mean, winning group very soft here.
So even further might have been better, in fact, yeah. Because there's a big hole under the high hill here of Rose Bay. Unusual, but indicative that it's not, you know, a well-developed nor'easter at all. Oh, they're comfortable there, though, I think. One good puff, though, makes a big difference here, doesn't it, Dave? If you get a good let down, it can make your day.
For sure. And one bad and one non-let down can ruin your day too.
Yeah. So here we go. Winning group, apparent wind a long way forward, not very windy.
I promise I won't say it again, Buggo, but it still looks like a big rig, son.
That's the last time until after the finish.
I promise.
All right. Well, they're not big rigs anymore. They're really a number 2 and a number 3, aren't they?
From our day, yeah.
From our four rig days, but here's a bit more puff just coming to winning group now. So
I think they're going to be fine here. They'll be fine.
They're fine. So they're now going to be pressed to get to the mark. In fact, they might be in a bit of rag territory. And the fin dinghy in the way. Who would have thought? More wind coming.
Is it the YA or is it the totem pole now, Bucko?
It's a YA.
If it's the YA, they have all sorts on here. They'll get there, but...
Oh, Herman's looking pretty chilled about it. But there's more wind coming. Big header with pressure. And the blokes behind are going to have to pull theirs off.
Yeah, they're going to be gone here. They get round here, they're gone. Just flag it and get round.
Wow, it's great, isn't it? Oh, dear.
Okay. Should we point back here?
Yeah. So, second with a, 30 second gain at least there to winning group. Shaw and Partners Financial Services second. The Rag is going to get here third, just flapping into the mark. And the 4 Pines Royal Oak got the rough end of the Pineapple back to fourth. Kitchen Maker fifth, Appliances sixth.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem with Royal Oak there was I think they did 2 more jibes than everybody else down there, Bucko.
Yeah, and his spinnaker doesn't look too good either, Dave. We might have a look at that in the bottom reach.
Yeah, a little round, would you say?
No, the luff's a bit like the luff's a bit too long, and the entry is down low, is a little too fine as a result. A bit like you got the pole too high. Back in the olden days when we had poles,
Is it? It looks like my eyesight's gone from watching computers in boats going around the world, Burgo, but I don't think he's even full hoist there on that. That could be part of the problem.
No, it's just got a dark coloured head patch.
Oh, okay.
Pretty good. Anyway, here we go. The other bloke's here struggling to the mark in a puff.
It's a complete ragathon here.
Yep.
Appliances online, good job. Handles the boat well, Brett Munster, doesn't he?
No, he's pretty reliable.
Yep.
But he's, they're a bit up and down. As you would have seen, he won a couple of races pretty easily. And then I asked him the next week, how are you going to go? He said, I don't know, mate. Not sure about today. Watch the first tack.
I think we need to have a look at this, Buggo. I think the 3 scallywags on the Tech 2 here have got plenty on here. Phil Harmer in the bow. Volvo Ocean Race winner. But no Volvo Race winning is going to help him here It looks to me like Charlie White's got the sheet upwind and the kite downwind. So Wendy's obviously pulled rank. He's just going to get there now. He's got a nice little lift to get there.
That's pretty good, really.
Pretty good. Might go chase the leaders, Bucko up.
Yeah, I think that's right on the money. Ryan coming.
Cobby. Dalzotto almost crashed at the mark there.
Yeah, not having a happy time there. So VMG run down to the bottom here, Dave.
Yeah.
And winning.
It's far from your typical nor'easter here, Bucko, isn't it?
Easterly here, nor'easter at Bradley's, nor'easter at George's Head.
Yeah. Really winning group and really stepped out from this Royal Oak. They've really dropped back here, haven't they?
Yeah, well, winning group got round clean and never stopped, really, did they?
I'd say.
Big angles have.
Oh, have a look at the winning group drive angle. They're almost sailing back on the same track there.
Yeah.
All right. Shaw Partners done well here, Bucko, to hold on to him here after the little gap.
Well, Shaw Partners on the face of a puff and stayed in the wind. Obeyed the first rule. Winning group sailed until they ran to the lighter air.
I tell you, you talked about time in the boat, Bucko. We all know how good Sammy Newton is in the bow.
Yes.
And we got the young Tim from Japan. I think young Bethwaite's in the middle there. So you're about to see the difference from time in the boat we talked about earlier and non-time in the boat. But they're closed right up to them here, right on the front of a puff.
Yep, a beautiful puff and on the ley line. So that's all pretty cool. Winning group soaking now. Shaw and Partners pressing. Interesting. Divergence of opinion about how to approach. Shaw and Partners can't get overlapped though, surely. No. So they'll be happy to drop early, duck. Too high on the mark though. Have to run square. Have to jibe almost.
That's poor. That's poor.
Yeah, didn't need to do that, boys.
When he had pressure, he could have put the bow down under him and then had a better rounding him and been right on him there. He's given him another couple of boat lengths there.
18-footers do not run square. Still, they're back in touch.
Yep. Boat race.
So they're just going to put the hammer down here, I'd suggest, and go. Clean up their air around the front of winning group by reaching a bit, and then 3 minutes on starboard to Bradley's Head, brother.
I'd say our late pick podium, Michael Coxon's got into third there, possibly just in front of the Royal Oak, and Kitchen Maker and AOL. Not much of a peloton. It's quite spread out, isn't it? The little battles, 2 and 2, boat on boat going on, but
yeah, it hasn't been typical thus far over the previous part of the season. The peloton's been intensely packed together, but somehow today the low range conditions have led to plenty of separation.
There you go, Michael Coxon into third, inside the Royal Oak.
And you know, Cocko's another, when he steers the boat, he does the tactics himself, and he can be very accurate once he's dialed in. And he's had enough sailing this year, I think, that he's comfortable, hasn't gotten out of touch with what happens.
The AOL's done a great job there. They've done a jibe drop on the mark to get inside the Royal Oak. Into fourth, Royal Oak. Maybe the experience showing, slowly slipping back here after being right in it up the first work. We might just chase the leaders here and have a look. Try and cross this big powerboat. We don't need to get swamped. Yeah, there they are. They're back there, the Smeg. They've recovered a little bit. Yeah, in front of Intec.
But we're just trying to find Smeg viewers that back in the middle. They were on the centreboard a bit earlier, so disappointing day for them. So we join the viewers by drone, and the camera cat about to come into shot here, I'd suggest. No, we're back to the Ronan. Shaw and Partners tacking now early. No easy lane. So Shaw and Partners didn't make a very good fist of getting through the dirty air there, Dave, today. So
No, very difficult to put the bow down when you're in the bottom end of the range. Put the bow down, you get less power, so you need a bit more pressure to do that.
good pressure here at the headland, though, Dave.
Yeah, pretty happy Mrs. Witt's money's on the winning group right now, but long way to go.
Yeah, they're not mucking around either, pressing hard in.
Just attack on the winning group. Quite good. I think probably the big difference between the two has been the way they've tacked the boat up here, really. I mean, sure, part of that was a better tack last time, but still not as good as these guys. And as we know, Bugger, you lose so much in attack in these 18-footers, don't you?
Yeah, a good tack's about 6 seconds and a bad one's about double or worse. So breeze up a little on average, looking upwind now, Dave. Yeah, that probably as much as anything, the appearance of the water from the tide ebbing a bit, one notch up from the first beat, a little stronger current going upwind. Up close and personal with...
It cross the shore partners quite easily here. Go halfway between here and Shark Island, and a big one back into the left-hand shore, Buggo, and...
Yeah, only way to go.
I think...
Best wind and most left-hand air. And
here we go.
Tacking. So, Davey, the wind looks like 16 knots here.
I'd agree with that, Buggo, but...
15 anyway.
15.
But just looking at the rig, they've got a little bit of sheet out now and travelling pretty nicely.
Yeah, it looks very good. Michael Coxon Sr. would be very happy with that picture.
Yeah, so it looks to me like they're starting this beat with a little more twist than they did the previous beat. Thank you. Oh dear.
I've just realised I've got a screen in front of me. You might have missed that one in the briefing here, Bugger.
Yeah, sorry, the briefing bit incomplete. So we're travelling here with winning group, and as we get away from Bradley's, the breeze slightly less, perhaps a knot and a half less, and need to just power up the rig, the back end of the rig a little bit to maintain composure here.
Well, you can tell by how high Sammy Newton's swinging. They're only just there, aren't they? He's not trying to swing it down too hard.
Full noise now.
Full noise now.
Just pressure build as we come towards the western shore. Beautiful.
But short.
Getting a bit of love from the winning group, boys. Great pictures, aren't they? Really amazing.
I had a chat to Sevy in the park. The bookie told me he backed himself.
Yeah.
So I just he'll be pretty happy with his wallet at the moment too.
Yeah, it's just a bit of sport, really, isn't it? He's got a reasonable full-time job running the winning group. Big operation these days.
Our country's built on gambling, Bucko. There's nothing wrong with having a punt, son. It's part of our culture.
Well, I broke even on the Melbourne Cup this year, Dave. How's that?
Well, I'll tell you a story about the Melbourne Cup, Bucko.
Yep.
I was in northern Vietnam, and I got the list, and I saw Craig Williams. Craig Williams, 44 years old, been trying to win the Melbourne Cup his whole life. Never won. Thought I'd back him. Of course, as we know, he won. Vow and declare. I thought it might be an omen maybe for Boxing Day for the Scallywags, seeing I still haven't won a Hobart race and this is 25.
Talk it up, son.
Well, should we go back and have a look at someone else? These guys are gone. Like gone.
Yeah, there is no second, Your Majesty, at the present time. You're quite right.
Gives me pleasure taking money off the bookmaker.
Shore and Partner's gone out to the east.
Copy. Sails the boat well, Coco, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Camera boat doesn't turn too well to
I just worked that out. I feel like it's driving Miss Daisy here. I know. Well,
so all that said, Davey, the breeze permanently bent right here at the moment. Bit of a surprise.
yeah, but I think just now, but it wasn't back then. Back there, I think that's how you can see. Winning group have done such a job on everybody.
Well, Shore and Partners up the middle might not be as bad as we think. More wind now in the middle of the river, which is a bit typical of what happens when it goes east. Looks like less wind on this left edge where we are with Rag and Famish. Michael Cox and Rory Cox and Jacob Broom sailing well.
Couple of boys from the Shire, I believe, the bowman and the sheet hand.
The bloody Shire, eh?
Hey.
Yeah, the Shire's pretty well represented.
As you know, I'm a Shire boy, Buggo.
I do recall. Was that Southern Districts Rugby, David?
Could be.
Could be.
Could be.
So plenty of wind here. They're just standing into a puff, tacking. Not the best.
No, he tacked just as he got hit with that big puff, and a little bit more head out of the boat there for that one. And you were talking about Shore Partners there. I think you might have been smoking something, Bugger. They are further behind.
And they just did another substandard tack.
Yeah, that has struggled.
Yeah. Okay. So AOL, as we've noted, had won some races fairly convincingly earlier on 2 races in one day with Big Rig in though. Second sail, not looking quite so good. Mainzer looks good though, Dave.
Mainzer looks very good. I tell you what, they're not the skinniest boys, are they? So they're doing a good job to be here in sort of the bottom end of this rig range.
Yeah, having to really get going here to get out of the dirty air of Rag and Famish.
Yeah, I think that's Phil Marshall in the bow there, another boy from the Shire.
Be able to make a rugby league team if you're not careful. The Cronulla Sharks. Gee.
What a day that was. What a day that was, Bocco, eh? Where do you want me to go?
Yeah, just get to lure to the windward mark. I think it'd be a good plan for
Cop-
here.
Got me that.
There's not enough wind. There's going to be any spills on the Bearaway, Dave, so,
Okay.
you know, that wouldn't be bad. Yep. So winning grip just tacking up at George's head. Drone footage at the moment. And they've religiously stuck to the left edge all day, haven't they?
Percentage play, Buggo.
Yeah, and they now know where the Leyland is, and but they're free to sail, and barring accidents, hard to see anybody catching them from the situation as it is presently.
I think it's the horse is bolted. There's not enough breeze here to be capsizing, really. So.
No. So they'll just do the Bearaway here, Dave, you'd think, and
Yep.
let them come at us, indeed. So just nice mid-range second sail for these guys. I think you'd be a bit flappy with the big rig, Dave, at the moment, though, wouldn't you?
I think I'd still want it, Bucko. Especially with this full VMG run coming up down here.
Yeah.
And they were quite light trying to get around the island before. I think a very good Wells big sail would be in front here.
Yeah, we haven't seen too much divergence in the rig selection so far this year. There's been quite a lot of wind, or not much wind. There hasn't been too much equivocation in the fleet. Just over here. Yeah, where the taser is or whatever it is. 12 footer over here.
Jibe set, Buggo.
12 footer without enough sail up on the bow here. So the winning group just standing up on starboard to go to the lay line. Nice, comfortable lay and big long run down, but nobody threatening them at the moment. Shaw and partners are good. 1 minute 45, I would estimate, Dave.
Oh, I think even a bit further, Buggo.
Two.
No, I think more like 2.
Okay.
We'll have a schooner on it.
I don't drink schooners.
All right, we'll have a red fire truck or whatever it is you drink, Buggo. A Shirley Temple. Oh, Pinot.
Pinot Gris, brother. Come on.
Pinot Gris.
Yeah, I'll put the clock on anyway, mate.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, here is a legend of the 18-foot skiffs driving his yacht, Mr. Charlie Diekman. We were talking about him earlier.
Wow. He's come to say g'day.
Balmain! Balmain!
Woody just inviting Charlie Diekman for a beer. So the winning group is around the mark. Shoot up. Time ticking. Pretty good set too, actually.
Well, I think that's, I mean, the guys will go and watch the video, Bucko, and they'll talk about how fast the winning group is. But as we saw up the first work, there's really not much in it. It's just every time they tuck, they do it a little bit better. They set the kite a bit better. They dropped it a bit better. All those little ones just add up. And then how are we looking on time here, boys? Got to be over 2. Going to be over 2, isn't it?
No, Dave, I don't think so. Sure, partner's on the lay line. And I've got the clock as well, mate. Don't forget that.
As long as you've got that TC3 buoy, Bucko, we're all good.
Yeah, I'll talk to you about that later, all right? TC3 or TC2?
Well, you know what they call it in Hong Kong now? They call it Whitty's Mark.
Oh, God. That's 1 minute. So he's on the way, so it's going to be 1:20 something, yeah?
Yeah. You got me. 1-0. The AOL's come forward a lot on the Rag and Famish. Right, the Rag and Famish went around in front of the AOL at the bottom mark.
Yeah.
I'd say they put a good, 15 seconds on them there. Maybe longer if they're not laying. Yeah, we've got Shore Partners on the screen here on the set.
Yeah, 1:30, Dave.
1:30. Jibe set on the Shore Partners. That's the play, but as you can have a look on the screen, it's a big difference between that set and the set on the winning grip. And then while they're there, we call that in 100-footer downtime. Downtime, no good. Opposition doing 15, 16 knots in the right direction, and you're doing 6. AOL around. Shore Partners up and going now. Now, I'll tell you who's come forward is the 3 scallywags on the Tech 2. They're coming forward. Absolutely nothing wrong with their boat speed. Jack's just got to buy the tickets to the movie a bit earlier. Yeah. Good set on the Rag. Little flag. I used to love it, Bucko. I always used to say it used to be a good judge on your boat handling. If you could get there in 20 to 25 and jibe set, you knew you were going to be a chance to win the championship if you could do that. Correct. So it's a good-looking boat, the Tech 2, isn't it? The arrows. I know young Rio McCartney, he says the arrows are fast. Copy. Copy. I see these boys. All 3 are on the scallywag going to Hobart, Bucko, and I hope they do a better job than they're doing so far. And I think it's only fair I give it to them. It would be expected. Look, it does look like it's sort of sagging a bit, and the luff line looks a bit tight on it as well, right? Yeah, well, we've got Phil Armour in the bow hanging onto the chute. He's a bit of a legend sailmaker of the killboat scene. Well, especially for a little sail, Bucko, that's normally going to be sailed in more wind than this, right? I think you're right. The AOL's going to cross the Rag and Famish down there at the top of the screen. Couldn't cross, had to jibe. Geez, these pictures off the drone are fantastic, aren't they? I think you were there, Bucko, when Jono launched his AeroMedia company on the Scallywag up at Hamilton Island. Oh, that's right. It was Kilo and Bucko, Kilo and Warwick. And Chits, of course. Yes, sorry, Chits. Yeah, Phil Armour a bit quick out there onto the wing there. Should I go chase the leaders? Is that a plan? Yep. Copy that. That's it, she's pedal to the metal, boys. For the viewers, he's referring to me being a little bit larger than himself and we're a little bit port down. That's lovely, Andrew, lovely. Well, what'd you say, 130 at the top? I'd say 230. 215. Yeah. Yeah.
Through the
It's Harry Bethwaite sailing in the middle there. When I sailed with his dad, he was about 1 year old, on Rottnest Island. I think that makes me old. So they're round. I said I wouldn't say it again, but I agree with you. Okay, copy. I just think the little rigs are very efficient. If you can pull 3 strings and just crack a little bit of main sheet, you're always going to be quicker. But, you know, I think it's probably a 50-50, you know. They're comfortable and then they're struggling. I think it's... always looks like there's more pressure as we look up the harbour from here, and then we get up there and It's a bit softer, probably just a bit of compression around the headland, Bucko. Yep. Yeah, good pressure there, Jackie McCartney. Swing it down, son. Correct. Butters around. So we've got winning group leading. Shaw and Partners second. AOL look to me like they're going to well jibe inside the Rag and Famish for third. Rag and Famish fourth, and then Tech 2 fifth. Kitchum H a six. And I think that's about the race. I don't think anyone's going to catch the top six. And built, yes. And as we know, it normally does the opposite, Bucko. Goes right and lightens in this direction. But no. Johnny Winning, still three stringing. Just amazing. He gives me hope I might be able to make a comeback in another 20 years. Well, that's why I've been taking a little extra notice on the Tech 2 rather than they're all scallywags. That's the boat I'm sailing in the Legends Day, so. Everybody on starboard tack doing the standard normal to Bradley's head. They've died. Okay, we'll go and have a look at these guys because two of these guys are scallywags. And really, Marcus, if you can hear me, I know you can't, you need to have a good hard look at yourself, son, to be this far back. But they are well down on port there, aren't they?
Yeah, Davey, have a look at the luff sag of this chute. It looks about right. And that's the newer mould, I think, from North.
Oh, is it? Does look a lot better, Bucko.
Yeah. Still a bit weird in the head. I don't think they've got the head of those sails quite right yet, but the rest of it close.
I think Ben Piggott thinks he's standing on the bow of the 100-footer. He's that upright, he's about to fall. There he goes. Just got his weight down a bit lower. There's a much different luff profile than the other one we looked at, Andrew.
That's right. Still a bit straight though off the luff at the half height. See how it's just a bit shivery, Dave?
Yeah.
Not an easy, stable roll, you know, which in these boats I think is pretty important. Have a bit of tolerance. Important in any boat, but in these boats in particular. A bit of tolerance for a bit of undersheeting or a little bit of oversheeting.
Well, it just allows you to get you more range when you're up range as well, doesn't it?
That's correct. This one probably looks good in the flow model, but in actual operation, a bit too difficult to trim. So So the order, finale at the bottom. Big shuffle in the pack at the bottom. But a breeze to about 050 magnetic.
Copy. Now, struggling for pressure with these little rigs here.
Yeah, more breeze out in the middle, Dave.
Yeah.
So they're into the Bradley's head zone now, these guys on Smeg. So they were on the riding lever earlier, so that's why they're back in the middle of the pack a bit. Struggling though, they don't have enough speed for whatever reason.
Looked like they were just going off screen there, but it looks a lot more twisty. Well, they need to pull a bit more vang on there. They're looking underpowered, and no, the winning group's a lot straighter. Leach Main still behind when we're behind that boat.
Yeah, the winning group's rig looks pretty tolerant to me as well, you know. It's got a good wide groove. Put the bat on, they get pressured up very quick. Never quite straightforward. So this is Yandu with mains are probably a little too flat for the wind speed, but fairly light crew weight.
We certainly got no problem for pressure there.
Yeah, it's a bit of a pity Finport's not here today because they do provide a pretty good benchmark. And probably, you know, you would have expected them to be top three. But this would be a light crew. Ash Rooklyn doesn't weigh much, and they're at full noise there. John Winning, not the tallest man in the world either. Anyway, I hope Ash is enjoying his...
I mean, how old is Woody now?
Oh,
For everybody at home. Like, how actually old is he?
I think he must be 66.
So
67 perhaps.
67, still sailing an 18-footer very competitively, right? It's pretty amazing.
Well, the Tech 2's in front of him by not by much, you know. Your boys. But he did have a good run.
Yeah, he did have a good run.
The Yandu.
Almost down in one.
So too much jib twist for these guys.
Way.
Yeah.
Pull your jib on.
We're going to provide them with a bit of help. It's max, so there you go.
So there you go. So that all comes back to time on the water, bugger. You know,
Yeah.
they've obviously just got it together.
Yeah.
And it takes a while to get all the little things exactly right. They've only got to be a little bit out, and you're not right, are you?
Yeah, and you know, for the viewers, you know, the boats with self-tackers, clue board adjustment, all very fine stuff, but 2 centimetres not hard enough on the jib sheet, and you're out of the game. And that's a bit what we're looking at here on the Tech 2 today.
And I don't think it matters if it's an Endeavour 24 or a Super Maxi bugger. If the headsail's not sheeted on properly, you don't go upwind very well.
Yeah, but I mean, Dave, it's also the adjustability of the setup here is pretty low, isn't it? You know,
Correct.
It's kind of,
Correct.
there's one setting more, you know, not quite, but but there's not a big range of adjustment. They can't shift the sail up and down the headstay. So,
No.
you know, if you had a Flying Dutchman or something, you could probably move it up and down the headstay or change the rake a bit, but we've got none of those options.
Yeah. But Jack will be right. He'll know. He'll get a debrief from me in the notes. He'll know what to fix.
So probably you'd say, in fact, if they've sailed around the whole day like that, they've actually done a pretty good job.
They've done a good job. Yeah. And, you know, Phil Harmer hasn't sailed an 18-footer for a very, very long time, so might tell you that they could be pretty good in a couple of weeks.
You'd expect them to be pretty good in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Anyway, up to the drone shot off the rag and Spanish standing up into Chowder Bay. So this is the rag in 4th place. They've got about a 40-second deficit to Appliances Online in 3rd and another 20 seconds to Shaw and Partners in 2nd. Winning group have gone.
Not a bad tack. Copy. You know how to do this all around the world. Catch a drone. But I didn't stop for them, Bucko. They had to catch it. We weren't slowing down.
No, of course. So, David, I did hear your comments in relation to the Southern Ocean. Now, I gather you're not a great fan.
Oh, I think anybody that does think the Southern Ocean is a good place to be, mate, needs their head read, Bucko. You know, 45 knots, 14-metre seas, 2-degree water temperature, point Nebo, as we all know. What go upside down, it's I've actually still got not a lot of feeling on the outside of the big toe where it rubbed on the sea boot. So as we say never again, but it'll want to be a big checkbook, Buggo.
Yeah, I've got to say, the Hobart race on a small boat's enough for me.
Hobart race is a sprint in the park. It's like a twilight compared to that thing.
I know.
I'm looking forward to it.
Davey, I'm picturing you in next year's Hobart race on a 2-hander.
Could be a possibility. Could be a possibility. We've just got to win. We've got to win this one first. Tick the box.
Oh, fair enough. Here we go. Travelling with Appliances Online and Shaw and Partners and George's Head. About half a mile to go up the beat. Winning group in the background, well up towards the ley line. Breeze 050, compass estimated 14 knots. So full pressure comfortably again here now for these guys. An interesting leg into Shark Island down the bottom here, Davey.
Yeah, the problem is they're just too spread out for really. I think maybe 3 and 2's the race, but
yeah, no, here's the yacht race here.
Yeah.
Winning group barring accidents, as we say.
Oh, for whatever reason, Van Munster's looked quite quick down off of Breeze as well, so he's in with a shot here for sure.
Yeah, and the Shaw and Partners execution hasn't been the best quite, has it?
Oh, I'd say it's been extremely poor, Buggo, if you wanted me to be real. But they're it shows they know what they're doing. You know, they're running second. They're still sailing well. It's just time in the boat. I don't think Tim's been. Don't know how much sailing Tim's done with them, but as we said before the race, it's quite an interesting dynamic. The 3 people in a boat. It's a lot different to 2 in a boat, and it takes time to get used to each other, doesn't it?
Yep. No, and we always mention this to some degree. You know that when the guys can go around the course, they know what the other guys are thinking. They know what the words all mean. You know, how urgency gets conveyed, where their feet go in the tack and the jibe and on the wing, and when they have to go to the back of the bus and forward again, and so on and so on. When that's all seamless and no attention is paid, it's just automatic pilot, that does take at least a year, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. But I don't think it's actually so much the driver. You know, I think you can sub the driver in and out, but the Florida and the sheet end, they need to be one. You know.
Yeah, that's dead right. So winning group round the windward mark. And these blokes a good 2 minutes adrift here. And now Shaw and Partners looks too twisted as well, Dave, from here. In the jib at least.
Definitely in the jib.
Yep. So again, maybe their setup not precisely correct.
Well, I think it's quite difficult, isn't it? Because they're trying to get the max sail. They've got a fixed triangle. They're trying to get the most amount of sail area in that triangle, and it takes a little bit just to get it perfect.
A little bit, that's right. Anyway, the gap between those two boats and winning group now on screen. So about 2 minutes to winning group, we'd estimate. It's got the clock on. Shaw and Partners got 30 seconds over appliances, perhaps something like 30 seconds anyway.
You quite easily lose 30 seconds going to Shark Island there, but in Rose Bay.
Correct. And winning group actually looking a little bit dusty as we speak. Got going again now. Good pressure now.
Might be a bit of a mental switch off.
Yeah. On a good line and laying down. So that's how much the breeze is in the right. There will be a couple of little jibes. I'll wait for this.
Okay.
Winning group, we can sort of put the glasses down, I think.
Oh, I hope so. Can you just send my wife a text, tell her to collect before the bookie's got no money left, please?
Before he jumps overboard and swims away. Yeah. All good.
They say you don't back favourites, but you never go broke backing a winner. That's for sure.
Yeah, so that's now 2 wins in a row, assuming they get home. And
another poor tack on the Shaw Partners there. I mean, once they get their boat loading sorted out, they're going to be just fine.
Yeah, but Dave, I mean, it doesn't seem like they're doing enough practice of that. You know, they've been at it a year. You know.
Right, it was Tim been. How long's Tim been sailing with them?
Yeah,
A little, was it?
A while.
Oh, okay. Well, they got some issues. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but they've had 12 races this year, I think it is, 12?
Yeah.
That should be enough to get it the basic sort of half organised, you'd think. Anyway. Yeah, so over 2 minutes. But the gap between them and Appliance is quite small.
Good set on the appliances.
That would be one you would have been happy with, Davey.
I'll be more than happy with that.
A 3 boat length set, we call that. All good. So a bit of game on, and the appliances did look pretty fast downhill with this rigging back the last time we saw them race. So
And it looks like they're on the front of a puff there, coming at them a bit there too.
Yep.
We might follow these two home. This is probably the boat race, isn't it?
Yeah. Anyway. So just a little further back. Dragon Famish 4th, the mark. Tech 2 5th. Kitchen Maker 6th. Royal Oak 4 7th, and probably Yandu 8th. That's the top 8. And there's a bit of daylight after that, so.
Yeah, I don't think 4 and 5 aren't going to change, and 1's not going to change. So
Yeah.
let's just see if Van Munster can get hold of the Shaw Partners here on the appliances along the line.
So the appliance online, Phil Marshall and Kurt Futuris handling the sails for Eddie Van Munster. And they're making yards here, Dave, by my view.
I think they are, and if you look further down the track, the winning group have just got pressure now, but they were very soft for about 30, 40 seconds down there, so I think full game on down here for these two.
Let's have a look at the shoot on the AOL. He's on the face of a beauty there, isn't he? Wow.
Who'd you rather be right now, Buggo?
I'm on AOL, brother.
It was a rhetorical question, Bugger.
No such thing.
Oh. Oh. The big fella just put his back down. Brett had to put the bow up about 50 degrees.
Oh, he's a big boy. Kurt in the middle. Wow.
Yeah, Kurt.
Big boy.
He must be he'll still be agile for a big guy to be able to sail one of these things.
Oh, he's a pretty good athlete.
Yeah. I think Brett's doing the right thing here, just trying to push him as hard and maybe just get out of sync with him.
I think they're happy that they're on the face of a good puff here. Here they go. Just going to jibe a little bit on the wind. Oh, it's a big action here. That's not bad though, Dave, is it?
It was very poor in, but very good out. I think they're trying to oversteer it in the jibe because they're down pressure. They're worried about coming out too soft. Yeah. You actually got to do the opposite. You've got to steer slower in and harder out. So.
Anyway, they've got, these guys form in the jibes and so forth. It's pretty good. They've got good roll action going on, so they're going to have a shot here. They think they jibe better than Shore and Partners, I believe.
Yeah, that was a much better jibe, that one, than the last one.
Exactly. Not quite as much speed of turn. A little bit less roll as well. So they know the breeze has gone east from the time of the previous time here. The breeze about 10 degrees further right, looking upwind. So he's taken that into account, and Shore and Partners has put all his eggs in this basket here. And if they get a good heading puff like happened last time, who knows? But I think Appliances has to go into BMG mode. And
I think he's just a little too far up there, I think. He's just... You never know. You never know what can come over the hill, though, do you?
No, he's on a beauty, though, Dave. Have a look.
Yeah, right.
He's in good bit of pressure. Oh. Waimea Bay upon us.
There you go.
Waimea Bay upon Shore and Partners as well. Good pressure for both boats. And a Shore and Partners into the lull.
Here we go. And AOL on a little, just struggling to hold on to the puff, but Shore and Partners stopped here.
And they got to take some risk here, haven't they? But if it's sort of replicated the first time down, the high line probably is okay. And Shore and Partners past the highest bit of the hill now and got sort of reasonable VMG run pressure with good header. So
we just need someone up there to open the door, though, Bucko, and it can all change. Here we go. Big bow down on the Shore Partners.
Yeah, that's called a good letdown, and more coming for AOL. The gap only about...
Not enough.
15,
not enough to be comfortable.
15 seconds. And...
big puff for AOL coming here, too. We're on the Shore Partners.
Yeah, let's go. Just laying. He'll get there with a bit of flapping if he has to. More wind coming from behind. Earning the dollars here, the forward hand.
Yeah, I'd like to see him trying to roll the chute a bit better there. This tight angle. There we go.
And maybe a bit more vang off, Dave.
Like about half a metre, I'd say.
Good thing we're so good. And a big bit of wind coming for these blokes. They're going to be in a bit of strife here. Let's give it the flapperoonie treatment. No, yes, no, yes. Maybe. Oh.
They'll get there, Bucko, but just. It'll be a flog, I think.
Yeah, no, they...
You got another big puff coming on them, right on the mark here.
I reckon.
Done a nice job there. Nice job there to get around that.
Yeah. And you can see they bore away 25 degrees, so that's a big bit of work.
Yeah.
And appliances did better, but got a bit less wind on average.
Yeah, just a bit unlucky there, weren't they? Yep. Quite easily go the other way. I've always said I'd rather be lucky than smart, Andrew.
Always. Still got a bit of jibe action here. AOL on the face now of a good puff.
Just try and keep out of their way a little bit.
Yeah, and AOL jibing, David.
Yeah, copy. And jibing in a puff on top of them, huh?
Yep. And Insurance Partners therefore jibing in a lull.
And quite a bit of pressure coming for AOL here.
AOL soaking now down to the line. Trying to get so out of our and soak.
Wow.
But still more jibing to come, so...
I've lost races from both those positions, Buggo. I can't tell you who's going to get this.
No, it's difficult. AOL in front, but I have to jibe on the port at some stage.
See, Brett's got one leg in there, just trying to sort of VMG as hard as he can. There are three boys on the shore partners, a three-string, and I'd say he'd almost be able to jibe and cross him here if he gets one more bow down. Copy. Okay.
So we'll be able to look at the port starboard cross, which will come up here at some point. Finishing line about 500 metres downwind now, so both boats will have to jibe and probably jibe more than once. Insurance Partners back in front here, I think.
Yeah. It's always a problem with the high line. You get lifted under the island and...
Yep. So still close though. And
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, the AOL took every opportunity. They're on a header on port, but Insurance Partners will probably jibe, yep. Insurance Partners will one more jibe on the starboard, will get to the line.
This will be close.
It is close.
This will be close.
But I think Insurance Partners still just in front. But they're a bit more constrained about when they must jibe. Appliance is in slightly better pressure now. Further away from the land. AOL's across.
When you said that, Bucko, I just thought I'd be quiet.
Good.
Yep. I'm not sure jibing onto port when they did was the right thing there. I would have got on starboard. I would have gone and attacked him.
Yeah, interesting. Charlie a little bit.
Charlie Diekman, right in the wrong spot at the wrong time. That'd be the first time in his life.
Yeah, I don't think he caused any drama there, but it's close still. But Insurance Partners can't get back from there is the problem. The other guys now, Blunt's online now with all the rights. And
I don't know, Munster looks soft.
Yeah, because he's just had to get it through the dirty air of
Yeah,
Insurance
yeah.
Partners.
Yeah. You're right, though. He's got him pinned here.
He got him pinned out.
Just take him all the way past the finish line, huh?
Yep. Insurance Partners going to jibe. Man, Munster going to a completed jibe, their worst jibe of the day.
That's
Insurance Partners going to beat him.
Yep.
How about that? Wow. Unfortunate AOL saved their worst jibe for the last jibe.
That's all it takes.
That's all it takes, brothers and sisters. Indeed.
Gee, I tell you, the steering circle in this thing's just fantastic, boys.
Try turning left, Dave. Sorry, he's complaining about the turning circle. It turns better the other way.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't
I
brief
used-
you on that.
I used to drive some machinery in the timber yard that only turned one way too.
So Rag and Famish, Coco, Rory Cox and Jacob Broom going to get a solid fourth, which is probably quite a good effort, I would suggest. And final job into the line. Tech 2 not too far behind.
Nice jibe on the rag. Really nice jibe on the rag there.
Yep.
Those young boys are doing a good job in the bow, on the sheet end.
Oh, Tech 2, a bit of an optimistic jibe angle here to the finish. Full soak. On screen. All good.
Yeah.
No, got a good header.
Got a
What would I know?
nice angle, Jack.
What would I know? It's all nice. I'd say that augurs well for the Tech 2 though, Dave. If they went around the track with a jib unable to be bolted in,
Yeah. And
a couple of minutes worth there.
easily, and you know, Phil Harmer's filling in for the day, so I think you might find the Trent Barnabas on the Tech 2 in the future. So if Jack can contract him and keep working at it, they're definitely going to be a serious contender.
So let's just quick recap here. Winning group, convincing winner. Second race in a row. Made it look pretty easy, really. Second, Sherwin Partners, James Doran, Harry Bethwaite and Tim Westwood. Third, Appliance Online. Brett Van Munster, Phil Marshall, and Kurt Fatura. Sorry, Kurt in the middle on it, but Phil in the bow. And next, well, there's a bit of daylight, but the Kitchen Maker. Sixth. And
Yandu.
Yandu and Noakes Blue making up the rest of what we can see from the camera boat at the finishing line. Winning group just doing a bit more practice just to rub the point in. Sorry, and Smeg, sorry. Sorry, Smeglers, missed you there. But a pretty big gap between the top boats and what we think of as the peloton, and the Kitchen Maker would be a bit disappointed with that, Dave, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they look quite good up the first work.
Yep.
Looked like they were maybe a fraction lower, but they were certainly had plenty of boat speed through the water. I just think they got lost. They got lost down that first run a bit and up the second work.
Yeah, and the Smeg trying to do a bit of dirty wind action. Coming in from the other side is Armourine Pittwater, who we also forgot about. Armourine close actually, Dave, but just behind them. Smeg's going to win this fight, I think.
Why not?
And having been on the riding lever, that's actually probably not a bad result either in a sense. Although the riding lever is not the ideal way to sail these boats, is it? Oh, the Kitchen Maker, great. Oh no, didn't quite get it done, but good enough. Oh my goodness. Sorry, and the peloton turns up en masse here.
Oh! Photo.
Call for a photo. What do you think, Davey? Royal Oak, perhaps?
I think
now they're going to go in the tide. Oh.
I think the Royal Oak got it, but they probably wish they hadn't now. There's no fun on the lever.
Oh, they'll be happy. A little rest. So, Davey, thanks for your time and effort today. Good to hear in good spirits. Looking forward to you on the Legends Day. I must be not old enough to be a legend or something. Good luck for the Hobart race, brother, and to all you guys. From the Camera Cat today, John O'Witty, Piers Hasgard, Michael Chittenden, I'm Andrew Buckland. Hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope